My first apartment had paintings up all on the wall. And I said, I love all these places on the wall because they're not paintings. They're different places in your life. And that took a moment for me to realize, like, you're writing the pages of your book.
Yeah.
And they're going to different, different places, different people. I fell in love with the lives of artists fully before saying I'm one of them. I was always saying, like, know where you're painting today and know where you're painting tomorrow. Create one thing every day.
Yeah.
I don't even care if it's a bad thing or if it's a small thing, a big thing. Ever since I, grew up and with my mom and dad, it was almost like, what's your dream? What do you want to do? Go get it. So cool. We talked and I thought we were going to be talking a lot about brand collaborations and like tricks to get things and do stuff. And we've really gotten to the heart of like what it is to be an artist is to, to create. Stop trying to be the whole process. Stop trying to be the viewer, the buyer, just be the artist and keep doing it. Since 1991, I've been in the SAG union, but when I moved to LA from New York, the experiences started to take away from me more than give to me. And I was tapping out of gas, like you said, to pull over to the side of the road. But when that happens, don't think that that's the end. That's just a second for you to find yourself. And that's when I started painting. Move into what you connect with.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Blueprint. Today I've got Gregory Siff. This is a treat, guys. This guy's an artist. He's a painter. He's a designer. He's a collaborator. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Stay tuned. If you guys could do me a favor, hit the subscribe button at the bottom. It's going to allow me to get more of these videos out. I'm going to tell a story for people, let them tell their story, and maybe you can get something out of it. Maybe this is something that's going to touch you. Maybe this is something that resonates with you. Help me out. Gregory, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. As an artist, I am truly excited to explore this brand of yours.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy our paths crossed at Gallery DeFi. I'm happy we painted next to each other. Yeah. And we were in the flow there. We can get in the flow right now because big fan of your show and your work.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Honestly, like when I first met you at the gallery, Gallery DeFi, when I first met you out there, and I've told you this before, like I remember you walking up and talking to me, and I had my headphones in, and I didn't hear you at first, and then you said something. I quickly took them out, and then I put the music on, right? So, and I think I had on some Kanye or something, and you were like, man, you're vibing over here. You got your thing going or whatever, and the conversation picked up, and I was talking. I was just like, this guy's the nicest guy ever. I was like, is this real? Like it seemed too nice. And I was like kind of, checking back to see like, let me see who this guy is real quick.
Yes.
But no, man, like seen it through your stories. I've seen it through, the people you interact with and everything, like genuine cat. Like, where does this come from?
Wow. That's a great question because ever since I, grew up and with my mom and dad, it was almost like, what's your dream? What do you want to do? Go get it. And I just am so gracious and happy that when I was like, I want to play for the New York Mets. They're like, let's go. I want to do, I want to be a ninja. Okay. Climb some trees, go to karate. And then like, I wanted to be an actor. And my parents always gave me that freedom. There was never a, you can't in that conversation. So So that kind of love and support as my life started to take these ways was giving me like, I am just so happy. And I was doing my thing that day, painting at where I am in my life. And I'm just like, wow, you're here. You're in the space that you've always, that you feel most comfortable. You feel like useful, you have purpose, and you find other people on the path. So I was just generally glowing because I was doing those 2 murals and one of them was done. I was on the next. And maybe sometimes it becomes into work and I just heard you vibing with the mural. I was like, it's about that. It's about like, this is going to be the greatest piece? No one to impress. Like, you're painting this because it's it's giving you that that feeling. So I was in that feeling, and you're not alone. I've had people express that before in my life and have that like, yo, that's just how he is, you know? And I'm just trying to find that root of what you said. And I think that's where it comes from. Like, you know, like Drake has like happy to be here. Yeah. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Cause we don't know how long we get.
Right.
And that was a year and a half ago. And I walked through DeFi 2 days ago again. And I was looking at your piece and then the updated piece. And I'm like, look how it's constantly growing and evolving. And dude, it's like you had the skeleton there and then you put the flesh on it. And you have, we can talk about that too, what you have coming up with DeFi, but that's where that is.
Yeah.
And I noticed you when you have this stare, you have this look, and it's just like there's no blink about you. And I remembered that. And when I was speaking about, you know, you were collaborating with Tex, and it just was all what you know what I'm about. It's just the paint and the magnetism between the people that create it and you know experience it.
Well, I think the stare is a sign of respect. Honestly, like I've always been, I'm from East Texas, so
direct.
You know, I always thought growing up, hey, shake a man's hand and look him dead in his eyes and say your name and listen to what he has to say. And like, I've always been taught that. I passed it on to my children. Same thing. You walk in a room, you walk directly to somebody, you shake their hand, you look them in the eyes, say your name, you know, and you know, that's a respect thing. So if someone is truly saying something, give them that. You know, give them respect. Listen, let them know that you're engaged with it. Don't drift off and do all kinds of things, but you know, be there with them. Be present.
That's see, I didn't even know you were a father, so that just gives me another level of it. And then that's that was the first things, like your directness and your stare. I was like, if this guy was going to ask me about something, like I know it's going to happen. So I wanted to get to know you more.
Yeah,
like this is a cool experience. Just watching all of the, I don't know, like the dreamers and the getters and the doers and the givers on your show, like just hearing everyone's story and how they, you know, earned it. And then how do you know, direct that sunlight out again?
Well, the cool thing is that there's so many people that come on this show that their path is very similar to someone else's path out there that hasn't made it yet. Or they just kept going on the path when somebody else just pulled over to the side of the road. And I want to show these stories because I want someone else to go, let me get back on. Let me put it in drive. Let me get back on the
definitely
road, you know? And just by someone seeing what you've done, maybe they wanted to be a Mets, you know, shortstop and it fell through. So now they parked it. You know, it's like,
dude,
what else, you know?
Let's talk about that real briefly. Like I started in the New York City Opera in Lincoln Center, like 12, 13 years old was my first check. I love music and acting and expression in movies. And dude, I gave my life and my heart, and my parents brought me to all of my auditions and my calls. And I had some great experiences. I worked in so many mediums. I was in, you know, all the way to the last drop. I mean, since 1991, I've been in the SAG union, but when I moved to LA from New York, the experiences started to take away from me more than give to me. And I was tapping out of gas, like you said, to pull over to the side of the road. But when that happens, don't think that that's the end. That's just a second for you to find yourself. And that's when I started painting, finding art and move into what you connect with. And in my whole life, I think it was around when I was 33 also that things started to click. You know, that's an important year. Jesus, it's an important year for a man, for anyone really. And it just like said, okay, I was like driving down PCH, going on a road trip all the way up to Canada. I wanted to see some stuff. And I had to call the acting manager and say, don't call me. I'm doing something else right now, because I could tell that was the signs. And it was hard for me to give up something that I like devoted my life and that I loved. But then once I made that decision, it was like pain every day.
Yeah.
You give your heart is now going to fill. And then, but things started to come. It started to come to me when I made that decision.
Was it a hard one? Was it a hard decision? Was it, you know, baited? Were you stressing over it?
you know, this it was a decision that was like self-respect, and I felt great when I made it because there was a whole shift in life. Like my dad had passed just like 3 years earlier. Things weren't like I had to stand up and like for my well-being, and it was just it was freeing, and then it was easy for me to show up every day. If you want to do something, you got to do it every day.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. If you don't do it every day, if you're not doing it, you will not are it.
Yeah.
So you got to have the paint on your hands. You got to have that. So that's what I learned, and then that was giving back to me. And just the gratitude of just in the morning, thank you so much. At night, thank you, because not everyone gets to do it. Everyone has the chance to do it. Is you have to participate. And it was scary, man. It was, but it felt so good. And you don't really do it for the paper or the money. You do it because it's going to get you up in the morning, and it's like, this is a smile. Like, why do colors look good next to each other? Like, why do things, what is it? It's just something that's like, it feeds you, and it feeds you, and it will help you feed others.
Yeah. I always tell everyone, as I'm going through, people always ask me like, why do you paint all the time? Or what is it you get out of pain? Or is it expression or whatever? And I say, yes, but I feel just as much therapy coming from this. Like my heart beats, I let the world go by. I sit in a zone, and it just completely turns into me in this process. And I'm able to clear my thoughts. Not only am I building something or creating something or putting a stake in the sand that I'm alive and I'm here as a sign for everyone to see this. They walk past this painting that I've spent. It's a time capsule of my life,
Completely. I did a show back in 2020 before everything went crazy, but it was called Evidence of Life. It's like, hey, like someone was here. That this is something that someone could feel that beat on there. And it is, as I feel like, just like you about that, like it keeps me calm. It keeps me cool. But I was going to say that when it's there, when you hear a song and you're like, oh man, that was 16, that came out. I was with, I remember this person, this happened. These paintings, you remember the day that you finished it. You remember the day that you started. And now that like, I don't feel time, man, but I feel it when I go back to these,
moments.
Yeah. These, I once said when I walked into my apartment back in LA, I was like, I came back in and it was like it's my first apartment, had paintings up all on the wall. And I said, I love all these places on the wall because they're not paintings. They're different places in your life. And that took a moment for me to realize, like, you're writing the pages of your book.
Yeah.
And they're going to different, different places, different people. Some people might not see till later on. They might be in your archives and your storage, and then someone takes them out and go, what was going on that day?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just, it's just crazy when you think about the power of how powerful something like a handmade item, drawing, or what it means to someone. And some people go for it. Some people, they'll find something else.
Yeah. Well, I really want to dig into this just a little bit, but I want to jump back to the beginning.
Let's do it.
You said your folks were always, encouraging you to continue and move on. Was it just you, only child?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a brother.
Okay.
Who, from my dad's first marriage, and we're highly connected too. He actually made this ring for my father, and it's the bull when I put an icon in my painting, it like will represent like when you see the bull, it means protection, fatherhood, brotherhood. So my brother Jules was always, present in my life, but I grew up by myself in that kind of world. My mom, my best friend, and my dad was grinding and hustling and doing great things, like started out with sandwich shops, then restaurants, then catering halls, and became like one of the biggest in Brooklyn. And I saw the work ethic. So I saw what it took when you come home at 3 a.m. from working on, different affairs and weddings, parties, bar mitzvahs. And the 86 championship Mets had their World Series party at my dad's place. So that was even more like tangible. Like I'm shaking hands with Strawberry and all. I'm like, it's that tangible. I could be, Yeah. So it started, to go back to your question, I could go on for years about my father, and my mother, but so that's I grew up by myself. So maybe there was a little bit of like, internal dialogue going on, a lot of conversations, a lot of stuff going on when the dreaming might, be more excessive than,
At what age did your parents first introduce paint or pencil or crayons or with you?
One of the best things about growing up in New York City is art is everywhere. And my mom always, there's I could recollect going to museums, MoMA, and they had the planetarium with laser beetles and laser Genesis, and like just seeing the show, and that's kind of how, growing up in New York. But my mom would always buy crayons and then the smelly magic marker ones, that have like all. So those I remember just having those tools around all the time, crayons, and my mom was always into that. Like I did a show once called, because I asked my mom once, I didn't know what to name my show. I was like, Mom, where did this all come from? Like why am I an artist? Like why are we like? She goes, when you were little, you used to color. She said, when we were little, we used to color. And I think that's something that every kind of kid and every parent, there's one day where you just and you see, this is something that's beautiful. You get to experience is like, you can put that right there in front of them. What are they going to make? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Every gesture must look like Picasso when it's, I don't know how that feels, but I think that's an important thing. And it's just like, it captures the mind and captures like experience with people, especially young kids. So I think that's something where it began. But I always just love going to the theater and shows and plays. And I wanted to be in Little Shop of Horrors when I was in 6th grade. And I pray to God, please let me be Seymour. I was like, it was just one of the first, because I went to the play and they had those vines come down at the end and you jump. And I was like, this is insane. Like I want to be a part of making someone feel that.
Yeah.
And I prayed and I got that part. And
That's
I was
crazy.
like, thank you.
Yeah.
And from then on, I was like, I don't know. I was dressing up like Batman and running around the neighborhood with my best friend, Matt. And there were just so many different things that I thought anything could be.
Yeah.
I thought anything could be. And that was propelled by being with them.
So you said that they gave you some outlets at an early age, right? Anything else you were doing in school? Was it all arts directed? Was it like sports? Were you?
Oh yeah, there was sports. Loved baseball, basketball. But as I started getting into the arts, you can't show up to practice and go for the audition to try out for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure action figures. You got to pick one or the other because you're going to be sitting on the bench. So then I realized, okay, where are we diving in? Because I want to be the Renaissance man. Yeah. And I have such respect and homage to anyone that's able to be like a virtuoso in multiple projects. But I noticed like, the more I have the guitar, the less I'll paint. The more I noticed that even while I'm here in Dallas and I'm here for a few days, is just like, I need to focus on one thing. And everyone's a different instrument. Sure. But I feel like if I stay, like if there's paint near me, I'm going to be going good. But I love all of it. It's all interconnected, a little bit of each, but like, definitely 77% paint and everything else is like coming through, but you need the music to fill you to.
They would say like a fire burns really hot and the coals, when it goes out, the coals are still glowing orange, right? And they'll glow for 2 days if you don't put them out, right? But you take one coal and move it a foot from the rest of them, and it'll go out in minutes. You put that coal right back into the fire, and it will glow back immediately. They always say, like, spend time doing the things that you love. Spend time being in what you want, and you'll glow from that, right? It's a great analogy for
I love that.
For the people that try to put things on the shelf. Oh, I'll come back to that next year. Or I'll be better at that at some point, right? But this coal, man, just look at that. I mean, it glows when it's in the fire. It's like it doesn't even have to be flames on it. It'll glow because of what it's surrounded itself with.
That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have in our hearts, and I think that at a young age I found that, and I wanted to know, when you found that, did you embrace that too? Were you coming out here? You were born out here.
Yes. Yeah. 5 generations from I was born in Dallas, but I was raised in Greenville for everybody that's from there. 5 generations from there. So, I thought I was going to be an athlete like every other kid does. And then I found out I was a dime a dozen and played it for a long time. But at the end of the day, I just remember my mom begging me as a senior to just take one art class or whatever.
Wow.
Right.
Mom.
Yeah. And she was like, cause you draw so well, take one art class. And I did. And did really well at it. And then I went off to play baseball and then came back and was like, I'm going to art school. I'm going to do it. I chased a dream and was just a dream, and then woke up and went to art school. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me was my mom begging me, go take this. But I remember in church, my grandmother used to give me pencil and paper to keep me quiet in church. And I'd sit reverse in the pews, look up like this, and I would draw, all the time. And I remember some people saying the kid's down there just drawing or whatever. And my grandmother just leaned over. She goes, don't worry about them, baby.
Yeah, because drawing is meditation. It's prayer. It's an, you're an antenna, man, and you're in there with those hymns and with that devotion from everybody in there. Those lines are coming through.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. You got to listen to when your mom or your grandma tells you to do something. Yeah. They're right.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I just kind of jumped into it. And again, I didn't even jump into fine art stuff until I went through college and learned while I was there.
Yeah. So you got the skill set.
Yep. And then, cause that's when I went to college, I was like, they said, what do you want to do with art? And I said, whatever makes the most money. And they said, you ever done 3D animation? And I said, absolutely not. Never used a computer before. And they said, we're putting you in 3D animation. I said, cool.
So cool.
And so I jumped into that and did that. And they took me in because they're like, you have really good hand skills, so you can draw really well. You can paint really well. You fit the type of creative we want, And so I had to learn a different path or a different avenue. And I think all types of art, whether it be digital or a website or a painting or a mural, it's all the same place that comes from. It's just a different canvas, we think the same, we break it apart the same, we build it up the same.
Yes.
We concept it the same. It's the same journey of I hate this, it sucks, it's getting better, still sucks, wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Every single
process
time,
of actualization, physically bringing something to life, or digitally, or just from a thought to an actual thing, to being.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm not afraid of the digital stuff. I can do some things with it, but I love the tactile. I love the raw. I love which you can be raw in all of it.
Yep.
So it's cool for me to, especially as all these kind of technologies and things that, we got into the digital age with, from Photoshop to NFTs to AI to whatever's going to come. There's so many different instruments to hear your voice come out of. And I still trust my instrument most.
So when let's pop back, you you were really into the art scene. You thought that was it. So you were like, first off, I'm going to acting. or it was split between art and acting?
This was the bridge for me, is that when it wasn't working with the acting and all these life things started to happen and I moved back to LA, I went to LA not as an actor anymore. I went as I wanted to write and I did write, and I do have it, as a modern day story about Vincent van Gogh. What if his life never existed in 1853 to 1890, but that vessel, that timeline came through another person, which took place in like 2003 to whatever. And I wrote this beautiful movie about like putting those stories, because that's what really, I fell in love with the lives of artists fully before saying I'm one of them. Like I was like, I thought reading the letters of Van Gogh. I remember you had a Van Gogh t-shirt on that was badass that day. That was like a rock and roll version of Van Gogh. But and just like I watched the Basquiat movie and I just saw the way he moved, the representation through Julian Schnabel's movie and then Warhol, and I was watching like the romance of that life. And just how like heavy everything was. Like a kiss was a billion times more powerful than a regular kiss. It was like, the things that he was going through and being like all the rejection that Vincent faced as wanting to do what he wanted to do, was trying to find purpose to being a minister and then, finding art. That's kind of how I felt with my acting, was like, it's not going, and what don't they see, like. So I wrote this story, but then I started to like paint, and I was like, I'm going to make this movie. I'm going to be in it. And I started hanging out in LA, and there was like a big era, 2009 to 10 to 11 was a very big street art era on Melrose. Banksy was hitting everything. Mr. Brainwash was out there. And I went full forward with like trying to share my art. Wasn't ready yet, but it was ready for me because I was finding some kind of like, and I started painting at home, going out at night and meeting other people that were street artists that became best friends of mine. And when you find you're in the right spot, you just know. And that's when I started to say, I'm not even writing the movie. I'm living this now. Like I was hanging out with, who painted the outside of DeFi, Gallery DeFi, Risk. I was hitting him up on Twitter and bumping into him in the galleries, and I just wanted to go at that time, like, let's go have a beer together, or let's paint together. And that started, and it just grew. Like, he was one of my first mentors also. And that was a signal when I saw DeFi, and my manager was like, Gregory, these guys are cool. We're going to do a mural with them. And I saw he blessed the outside. I was like, this is a reminder of my past, which is going to be a yes, because what's in behind those doors in there? And it was like, get to meet you, and got to, bond with Not Travis and Kyle, and the whole thing. You have to pay attention to those little signs. There's like clips that you can hear them, and you could see them, you could smell them. And I feel like that's real. I feel like that's the God's painting of you showing you, the way.
Here's your path.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I knew, then I was like, okay, we got this script, but maybe I'm not going to be the actor and I'm going to be the painter in it, but I got to paint more to get to find your voice. So that's one of the things is the best part about painting every day is you learn how to shed the skin of everything that you love and all of the conceptions in your head of like, that's a good painting. That's what people buy. That's what's in museums. You got to get that out of you by painting your stuff, and you gotta show us your story, man.
Yeah.
Just give it. Like
how old were you at this time when you went through the exit through the gift shop era?
2010, 11, 12. So I must have been like that 30, 32, 33 age. And that's when I started painting every day. And then all of the things started to happen. Like all of the kind of, did a one-night show, then a gallery where the show stays up for 30 days. Then where you really don't have a minute to question anything, it's like, oh, that needs to be done tomorrow. And I was always saying, like, know where you're painting today and know where you're painting tomorrow. Like, if you're not doing at least one, you should do at least one thing. You make one drawing, create one thing every day. I don't even care if it's a bad thing or if it's a small thing, a big thing. And those things start to stack up. So that was my full on. And then you would just wake up in the mirror one day and you're like, yep, I'm him. That's me. I'm not
You got a huge gap right there between like, man, I was a kid and I was, running around like Batman. And the next thing you know, you're like, hey, I'm on the streets and I'm doing my own thing. Like, there's like 15 years in between that.
We could go back to.
You graduated high school, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
I graduated high school and I went to NYU.
Okay.
At that point, I wanted to do acting, but my acting agent at that time was like, go to school and learn something. Don't go for acting. You're already living it. You're doing it. So I just went to NYU and I took up journalism and communications and broadcasting. And I loved the liberal arts. I loved reading the Odyssey and the Epic of Gilgamesh. I loved these like grand stories where there was just so much to visualize of, and then the story of Achilles. And then later on, like I sliced my Achilles, and then I'm trying to find the parallels, and I'm looking back at my old textbooks. So to jump back, I went to NYU, and like that was 4 years. I graduated from them cum laude. But when I went out to LA to do the acting, and my mom was very worried at that point. She's like, "You got a college degree. You're going out there, and you're spending all your savings." And I was just, because I wanted that acting thing. I was like, "Don't worry." I was like, I'm not going to spend everything. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do that. And I went to the Four Seasons Hotel that was down the block from my apartment, put on a suit. And by the way, I wore this jacket today because, you had Boo Boo on and he looked fresh. He was rocking a blazer because he had his thing. So I was like, I don't really usually wear a jacket all the time, but I was like, I want to step up. This is a professional moment right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I had to get that job at the Four Seasons and have the humility for those days to hand out menus. And I'm so grateful for that job because all the people that I met then, I was talking about the Van Gogh movie, I was talking about I'm a painter. Those were business cards, and those were people that later on in my life, they would help support this thing. So you think it's not this magic thing like, oh, it hits you and then like you've made it. Like, it is actual contact that you build physically. Like everyone on the mailing list of my website, of my art, who's interested is someone that I've sat next to on a plane, that I've shared a moment with. That translates to real motion in what it is. It's not some kind of like fabricated thing where like, you see some people on it and you're like, I don't know how all like the algorithm and all these likes and these things work, but there's work that goes to getting that, to getting the people that can connect. And you have to be willing to accept that and not just think it's some magic pill that just happens. It's like true on. So that's what so that gap in between was those years where I was just like, oh, they like the idea of a movie, or they like this. And you're not going to be able to do any of it without like your people. That's for sure.
So this was like 15 years of that.
So I guess when I realized 2010, we're in 2026. Yeah, that was like 15, 16 years of that. I was painting even before 2005, 6, 7. I'd just been like, and those were shows in coffee shops and hotels and things like that. But once I became serious, and I think the serious moment for me was in like 2012 where I did a show, and there was it was called There and Back, and it was about my dad always used to say that I've been there and back. Like there's a sucker born every day. But he's like, you can't pull one over me. And There and Back came to me was like my mom in New York and me in LA, there and back. And it was something like, and then I did like I did a painting that was LA and New York, like the West Coast, East Coast, and all the stories in between that. I'm like, okay, this is more than just a decoration. I'm telling people about what what he said and where we're at. And that's when it became even a moment for me that it was, you're in the right spot, and this is, we're going to keep this going. And that's when the interest happens. And that's when you asked what happened with that piece, and like that sold. And now you're like, oh my gosh, now that's my rent for a year now. Yeah. What do we want to do? Like, where could we use this what could you do with this kind of, I got like financial creativity. What have you never built? Who do you need to help? Does it even change your process having money? Does it take away from it? So these were all kind of like little lessons just by like getting out there. But I will say it took some time for me leaving New York because I'm from like a very close-knit family. Have, like Italian, Sunday dinner, and Jewish. And my dad was Jewish, my mom Italian. And I mean, I grew up around so much love. And every time I'm in LA, like I was always like, I'm giving this so I can get back there. But I did use a lot of years there. And now I'm trying to get back that way.
Do you think it's you talked about the name of your show? It's very personal, Every time you go to do a show, how many names have you just thrown off the cuff versus like, I really need to speak from my heart with the name of this show?
Always.
I'm
going to tell you a great one. And I say it's great because it came through me. And I was painting a show 2 years ago. And couldn't name it, but I was in it. I was taking relics from pieces of the studio, pieces of wood, pieces of my moments of my life. Yeah. And taking in those 15 years being out in LA, and I couldn't find the title. And I went to sleep next to my girl, and I noticed from a photographer, I had these pieces of wood. My friend Listak had wrote on the wall, to understand time, you have to destroy time. But it was crossed out and was hidden in the thing. I was like, to understand time. I was like, to understand time is why we're doing this. So I lay down in my bed, and after painting, we're getting closer to the, and I go TIME. To understand time, to understand today in my eyes. That's what I saw. And like, I mean, that was a download. God was just like, and my babe, my BB, she says, write that down. And I wrote down today in my eyes. That's all time is just today, right now, the 24 hours that you get. And that each day is a small life. We saw that written on a rug we were in Austria when I was working on a project for Bogner, the ski brand. And that was written in German on the rug. Each day is a small life. But the title of the show, to understand time. And then I was in the shower, taking these cold showers, like a cold plunge. And it started coming to me. And this poem, like this Dr. Seuss poem came. To understand time, you got to walk through the cold. To understand time, one must forget what is old. To understand time, you got to hang with your soul and swim in the sun just moments ago. Find what you love and never let go. Look out to the sky and let them all know. I've been at it for days, but what does that mean? For people to see and powers to be seen. I feel like me when I'm painting these skies. I look down at my hands and see today in my eyes. Bro, I had the shower written on the notebook, and I was just like, this became like the Dr. Seuss poem of the show. And it was like when I saw the paint on my hands, I know I'm me.
Yeah.
And it was just like, so all the titles of the shows, and now as I'm approaching this show that's going to be at the TF Gallery in Dallas, April 9th, that's why I'm out here.
Yep.
And this worked out so great, is I'm walking through Dallas by myself, looking at all the different downtown, looking at people, looking at what brings a city together, like a visitor, like I'm an alien from another planet, even though I've been here for 5 years, coming back and forth for different things, trying to find what my song to Dallas is. So I just have to stay constant in the work. That's it. And then it'll come. It's got to come. It can't be like, what's going to look dope on a t-shirt?
Yeah.
It's got to be like, and it's there. And you can't take credit for it. Like, I mean, none of it. It's all a participatory piece. Yeah. Like without the people, there's no painting. Without the prayer, there's no paint.
That's really cool, man. I really love that story. That makes me reflect on some of the stuff that I've done as well, and like how it means. And it's very, it's very a parallel path, right? To the way that you've thought about that. I remember one of my favorite ones was, I named maybe my first show, I named it DNR. do not resuscitate. And I had a picture of dead flowers on the top of it. And I remember the gallery owner looking at me and going, DNR, like, that's dark. Like, there's going to be some people who are going to be offended by this. And I said, well, I'm giving everything for this. Like, I'm giving my life to this. This is all of me. So once it passes, do not resuscitate. It takes everything for this. And I just remember thinking, like, how proud I was of expressing that, because I wanted somebody to understand what it means to me in my heart, right? Because painting, I think, it's not about color choice. It's not about stroke. It's not about literally what you create, but it's about you telling somebody, like, I was here, and it's just a time capsule. I had a friend that died at an early age, and it's every time it's made me think, I've made my mark on this earth.
DNR, man, that is so important, because even in the themes of the painting, like you just said about your friend, memento mori, and just saying, like, for two things, for me, it makes me think of my father, because he was the type of guy, like, we're not having artificial breath in here. Like, this is, I'm going out with the strength that I have in me, because I'm not that. I'm not a vegetable. I'm not a piece of garbage. I'm the full rotation of what my arc is, and that's where it is. Do not resuscitate. This is how it is. And in Memento Mori is like the paintings of the skulls, and like the Renaissance pieces, or those are reminders, like, there is an end. Dude, life is so cool that we think it's just like, turn on the phone again. One day that phone does not turn on, and we don't know that. So why not act like it? Why not take the 24 hours? Did you do something good today? Did you create something today? Did you mean something for someone? Did you leave something for someone? And that's really cool that you got that at your first show. You cut right to the root of it, and that was important. And that was something to help you deal with your friend. And also, you said, I was here. That show will never go away. It's respect.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think sometimes you start getting into your thoughts with people, and you start to tell them about stuff, and they're probably checking out because you've gone way deeper than they want in conversation. But I told you this earlier.
You were mentioning this.
Like, I can't stand a shallow conversation. I can't take it. I really need to tell you how I feel for it to even mean something.
Yes. Don't give me 5 minutes of the weather.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. I mean, you know, sometimes people have a hard time communicating, or like you were saying, I love that you're leaving your legacy for your wisdom for students and kids that are trying to find, some their purpose, place, their life, and it does take a little. It takes the wind out of your sails when there's no enthusiasm, when there's no passion, and if it's just like my dad's best friend Joey Ronaldo says, if you don't want to be at my dinner table, if you don't want to be at the table, don't come. Like, don't show up to the table if you don't want to be here. Don't do it because I have to go. Stop doing what you feel like you have to do, and go and do what you're here to do. Like, just it's tough. It is. I don't know, man. I try to live it to the bone and to the marrow, and do that as much as possible. And that's why this is really cool to talk to another one, like one of us, like the tribe of, let's get it. Like, let's get that let's get the best out of ourselves for the rest of ourselves, when the rest of everyone.
Thank you for that. When you first, you said when you were 33, had you already had a style up to this point, or were you still on a journey?
Great question. I love a few things. I was like, how's everyone going to know it's my stuff? I love all these things. And I loved blue, red, and yellow at the time. The primary colors made me feel like those are, when you're a kid, you get those colors, you can go anywhere. I was just thinking about my mom when you were little, you used to color. That was the title, but with the crayons. But when I started, one day I was painting this show with actually a great friend of mine who's out here, another artist who's incredible painter now. He's really, at first, he was helping assist artists out in LA, and his name's William Atkinson. dope. Multimedia, street, fine. But I was doing a show at that time when he wasn't painting. He was doing some stuff, but I was building this show and I had lots of different pieces and styles. And I was like, I just want to take this Sharpie and I want to do 100 faces or 1,000 faces. How many faces fit on the canvas, and write a word under each of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting in there and like, just do it. Just do it. Just take the Sharpie till it's burnt out. Like start it when it's juicy, go all the way down the canvas. And that was the first time that I had really like put that together. I was like, I like that. I like the way that it was, an exercise. The painting was done when the marker was done. And then that was like, I like the symbols in the faces. Then I did a big mural with the can. And then I did 100 faces on canvas. And I liked how people could find themselves in each different face. And then it turned into symbology and symbols, because a symbol could stand for someone. Mm-hmm. So it took me a bit to find that style. And I knew I had loved, like there was so many different people that I met through art that I would like just be amazed. And, being in LA, I was able to go to see a show with Shepard Fairey and go see the murals of the Seventh Letter. And I got to interact with my environments and like really like look at process and just, take it all in. So it took me some time to find that voice. But then when you don't want to repeat the same painting a million times, you want to like have a different feeling, but use the same instrument, you got a trumpet or a saxophone, but you're sad in this one and you're wild in this one. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing murals in LA, and after the street art came the murals, which were like, mm-hmm. and those become like identifiers and meeting places, connection places, points. There are people like, yo, I know you don't know someone, but they know you. Yeah. That was cool. Yeah. That was something where I was like, okay, I'm not stopping. Like, let's go. Beverly Hills, Long Beach, wherever it was, Detroit. You start to make these giant paintings that might get painted over one day.
So you did. You started out with a Sharpie black, I'm guessing.
Yes, love that.
I've noticed a lot of yours are iconography, but they're mostly black, right? But I've seen a lot of them that you've spotted in color too, right? When did you start to transition into bringing color back into this?
I really liked. There was one day where I just had, a great artist uses what they have around them. And that's really cool. Because sometimes you might have, some coffee and carrots, and then you're going to try and figure it out. Yeah. It's going to get stained and things are going to, but some days you have lots of stuff. But I started cutting open a lot of the markers that the tips were all busted up on and flesh, like pollocking them, flinging them around and getting a lot of, I just had to kind of go to I loved the idea, like, this is the next phase of, the next, it's different, but it's the same. It's different, but the same. And colors and material, then you whether you're using spray paint or oil paint or acrylic paint, and, and that's where when you say collaboration, there's a lot of collaborating going on. You learn things from people. I love painting with my friends. So if we're painting together, we're friends. It's not like it's because, we're going to get to hang out and like make something and do stuff. And I think there's a lot of love comes out of collaboration. You get to learn, your threshold of, what a good piece is, and you learn different things from people. And I think that's cool. But I feel very happy that I was able to be in a space where so many people were doing art. Yeah. At that time, it was really cool. And then the diehards and the ones that loved it are the ones that are still doing it, and, sharing it. Because
how did you start to polish what you were doing into next level? Because I've seen you use not just Sharpies, I've seen you use Crinks.
Love them, yeah.
And you want to talk about the process of like, not only are you found a style and you love this, I don't want to say simplistic, but you've kind of gotten it down to silhouettes or shadow based type
So use something every day, and that Crink K60 was something that was used to get your name up, and then I started using that to the canvas, and I liked using the material that we use outdoors, indoors, and it was just, but it's like I don't know what the millimeter it's called, maybe it's 0.05 millimeter or 1 millimeter, the nub on the mop, and there's just ways you just start. Like I was like, okay, I don't need the thin marker and the that and that. I'm just using this. That's all you got.
Yeah.
So I would just like I think I have one in here, but I think I got one in here. Come on, G, we got a marker in here.
I may have one at my desk over there.
Oh wait, I got it. It's in the back pocket. It's in the back. I've been walking around the city, but okay. So yeah, like physically, I'll throw this down on over here. While we're talking, I'll
do it. Let's roll it.
One on here, and let me see. We got some paper, and we got okay, good. So there is one in here. So I would just sometimes they stick.
They always stick to the top. Yeah. I've ruined so much stuff. I can't even tell you.
I once did a mural in the owner of Soul Cycle's home.
Yeah.
And with there's another brand called Grog from Italy, and I once I had my music on, I was in the mode. I pull the cap off, and it takes the nub with it. But I was looking at the wall, and I'm like, I pull the cap off, and I'm holding this thing. Cap comes off, and I go like this. I have music. I don't hear it for a minute. I just feel the light, the lightness coming out. Hot pink all over this brand new floor with the marbles running everywhere. And I was ready to just go, boom, I'm Picasso, you know?
Yeah.
And I threw my clothes onto the thing, wiped it up, and it was hot pink. And I was like, I got to go tell her. And I went in the other room and I said, hey, and I found myself, that was one of the greatest things. My manager, Lisa, got me, that we could talk about that because we got to get to the business situation. But the head of Soul Cycle, I did about like a tour of all the Soul Cycles. I did murals. I did an apparel deal and did a bunch of cool stuff, a Levi's jacket with them, tights. And this was like, okay, we want it in the home now. And this happened. And she was like, and then she was cool with it. And luckily, like they were able to, I think they had to put new wood down because that stuff stained like hot pink on a beautiful wood floor like this. Yeah. And that was one of my lessons. Ever since then, doesn't matter. You got to check before you.
Action.
That's happening to someone right now. They're dropping it.
You know, what's so funny is like, I was doing a mural in someone's house as well. Same thing happened. It was literally, I like to use like that dot to put two highlights on the other side of an eye, right? And so it's a perfect round circle. It's a perfect highlight. I go up, touch it, and it goes, and I look and the cap is in here and it just runs straight down the wall. And you know that stuff is oil-based and you're used to painting in like spray paint and you can't, and it takes years for that to dry, it feels like, right?
Yes.
And so here I am like, trying to scrape it down the wall to try to get the oil off of it so I can spray paint over the top. And then I spray paint over the top, it bubbles through. And I was like, I finally got it fixed up. And if I went back to do it again and it came off again, and my friend looked at me and he goes, twice. He goes, we could have been out of here 2 hours ago. I was
it popped twice.
Twice. And I was just so frustrated because I didn't go through the process again of taking the lid and making sure it was stuck down.
Yeah, yes.
Brutal.
And sometimes those accidents could work. On that one, if that was an eye, you don't want to be crying and like
crying
and
black
didn't
or
you
crying
have
white,
yes. But so the question you asked me is like, how did the tools, like how did you, I just started getting very comfortable with one tool. And that's why my mural at DeFi is made of Crink. And that's why when I feel most comfortable, it's like, I know what that tool is going to do. And so I started doing these portraits. And I mean, I'm going to just try and do a quick one. Like, I was dreaming this too. I was like, what if Devin Rodriguez, he's done portraits in the subway. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. It pops up on Instagram. I just think it's so cool that they're having a conversation. And
talking about it.
It's just, you have to have two brains. One that's asking the question, one that's like taking that in and then pushing it out into the thing. But
that dude's incredible, by the way.
Yeah, yes. I mean, this is just fun, but I'm just doing it in the...
Super awesome to sit here and watch somebody kind of go through their magic and do their thing, you know, and it's like those moments, I mean, you just kind of live through them, you know what I mean?
So I just did a quick one like that.
That is so cool.
With the drip on the hat, and you see the whoa, I got some paint on my jeans, but that happens. Yeah, this is all like with the one nub and the one line, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like I love these kind of in the moment, you at this moment, you asking me questions.
Yeah.
Me asking you questions. That's what's it's just part of this. So
that's awesome.
I'm gonna let that, that's going to be juicy. Might leave a little black on the glass, but we could get that over there. Here.
Look, man,
then I got a remnant right there, and I could do one for myself to remember.
I've got paint on literally everything I own, and
I'm glad it went on me.
Yeah,
you got paint on everything you own.
Everything you own. You know how it is. I mean, and you know you said it last time. You said like, you know, you're in it when you look over and you see the remnants. I mean, I've got stuff and I don't want to scrub everything off because you know what that does to your fingers, and it just makes them like crack and bleed and everything else. So sometimes you have to let that paint live there for a day or two before it comes off with soap and water.
Yes,
right?
especially this stuff. Yeah. I like that. Like here, we got a little bit of black on this pair. I'll remember that on February 24th, right? Yeah. 2026, we were kicking it over here. Yeah. Now there's going to be more going on this eventually, new jeans, but like, that's part of the story. And like we were saying, you want to leave that story, you want to leave that mark, you want to share that.
Yeah.
And that's like when you fall in love, there's a quote about the flowers, the smell of the flowers stay on the hand that gives the flowers too. And it's just like, this works both ways. So like the memories are still here. And
that's cool, man. I really like that.
Well, what I love about your podcast is it always relates to building your legend, your story, your business, your entrepreneur, how you can grow, how you can take a piece of paper and turn that into the whole thing.
A life.
Yep, a life. And I wouldn't have been able to do that with who I am, is like I'm painting and this kid just having fun. Like it sounds like kid stuff, you're out there just doing, but like there's people that you'll meet on your path that'll be like, hey, I love what you do. How can I be a part of this? Don't be afraid of that. Not everyone's there to take from you. A lot of them want to lift you up and be a part of the process. And that's how I met my manager, Lisa Falcone, Lisa Christina. And she was like, how can I help you? She had a gallery and brought my art out there. And I had never heard of an art manager. I just had been in galleries. And, galleries, take a percentage. And I was like, well, I have all these emails and I can't answer them all the time because I'm painting. Like there would be a lot of different things. And sometimes the artist is not the best person to talk about the money with someone, because with the relationship between an artist and a collector is more, it's not just like, I never call them, it's not a product, and it's not a, what's the word? A collector is a good term, but it's not a client. I never used that word because I never felt that, because everyone who's had it has had like a piece of my story and who I am, and a piece of the world that, that I'm living. And then it's a shared thing. And then you show up and you become family.
Yeah.
It's like when someone finds their connection with your work and you bring it, and whether you install it or you visit it or you have conversations about it, it's really, really moving. So Lisa saw that and she took care of that part. And then I gave her these emails and she sold a flag, a commissioned flag a flag that I had painted. She had got a commission. She took my pieces that were at that time, maybe like 5,000 to 25,000. She started to giving me the freedom to paint more. And that was something that like I highly suggest as you get to that spot where you're comfortable with your work. And even, I mean, we have no control of when that person is going to come into your life.
Right.
It's very hard to do it on your own. And then that was an important moment for me when it's just great when someone wants to spend as much time on what you believe in as you do.
Yeah.
You know, you got someone. You could tell when someone's like, there's no 9 to 5 in this thing.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that too is like you learn to rely on people a little bit, right? It's a rising tide raises all ships, right? And so as you rely on these people to kind of do their part, it allows you to free up and do your own part, right? You can really focus on the things you're good at as opposed to diversifying all the way across, because to make this thing into a business, literally where you can live, where you can eat every day and you can pay your bills and you're not behind on things, because that's the thing that knocks a lot of artists off their pedestal is they just don't have consistent money coming in, right? And what you're saying is you found somebody to kind of help you get past all right, let me make the calls, let me make the emails, let me make the introductions, let me sell my own artwork, let me be there to preach to these other people about who I am and what I'm doing. Nah, take all that away. Let me create. And then by doing that, you were able to just blossom and take it to another stratosphere.
Completely.
Yeah.
That's exactly, that's what feels really good, because then it's hard to have all that buzzing going on. Yeah. You don't want to paint for the dollar, because you're not going to be painting the right stuff. And there are waves. There's sometimes like people are in it. People are all about you and you've sold 10 paintings, and then there's all this stuff. And then there's this still moments and you're like, okay, why? Well, let's make what you feel now, or like, let's get even more creative. Let's figure out how we're going to do. Maybe it's a call to go experience more things in the outside world. You're in the studio too long you need to go like on a trip. You need to see how people eat here. You need to go, go to here, go to Australia, go to Tokyo, go down the block and just walk a little bit. Like that's something too. But it's definitely a crazy ride, and I've devoted my life to it, and now I'm like, and now that I'm getting to, I'm getting, I guess, older. I'll never really like be old. I'm just saying like I'm maturing in my ways. I want to get back to the things that like, I want to keep more family moments in there, because those are great, and I want to keep painting and creating wherever I go. So I keep things with, have a notebook, always have a notebook with you. Always have something that's going to make you feel like you got some, like maybe we should add some color to that later.
Hey, it's yours. You do it. You do it how you need to do it.
But yeah, man, that was probably, I've met so many different people that have been mentors to me and showed me it's possible. And that's like when I came out to LA and I was doing acting, and I saw another artist, one of my like heroes and inspirations, Louis Cannizzaro. His name is Powder French, and he was did a book of poetry with his art in it, and he self-published. Like he showed me like, if you want to make a book, then you got to do, you can do it yourself. And did, do crazy things. He said, do at least one crazy thing a day. Call up the museum and say, hey, do you want my paintings? And if they say no, then he was like, okay, well, maybe you need a postcard for the gift shop. And then he got into the MoMA that way. Get creative with how you're going to, like, where do you see your art? What do you love? Do you love watching, UFC? Do you love watching fighting? Send a wild email out. Do a painting of someone and send it. You miss a billion, what is it? Miss 1,000,000% of the shots you don't take. Like shoot all day. It's free to shoot.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of
effort. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I hear a lot of people ask me, Brennan, where do I start? I'm into art. I want to get out there and I want to be in galleries and I want to do this. And I tell everybody it's a long road, you know. But the first thing you should do is share it. Share it. Because a lot of times people create this art and they keep it here. You know, they don't want to put their heart out there for people to kick, right? They don't want to put it out there.
Yep.
And it's a hard thing because that's your
people
baby.
Will kick.
People will kick. They're going to say you suck. And there's going to be people say you're amazing. You're probably neither one of those. You're probably somewhere in the middle, right? So just put it out there, man. Put
it out there. That's so great. Share it, you said.
Yeah.
And guess what? When people kick back at that, you're going to learn how to stand up for yourself. You're going to, number one, and be like, no. And then you're going to find people who actually like your work who come and stand up for you. That's how I met one of my best friends. Like someone was like, Gregory sucks major. And I went off on it, it was on like the message boards of street art back in the day. And I was like, I threw a Kanye lyric on there, like there'll always be hating, just the way it is. They marry hating and have hater kids. And one of my buddies was like, oh, damn, and that connected us, that we both had someone that didn't like who I was. And I was like, okay, I just stood up for myself. That felt good. Yeah. And I'm not that. I mean, no one's going to like, not everyone is going to, don't try and do that. That's another thing. Like, not everyone's going to like your stuff because, you know, there's a million styles of music on iTunes.
Yep.
You know, like, so I heard you say you're not into the classical stuff. Classical music.
Classical.
I heard you say that. I was like, damn. I was like, I didn't know that about, like, sometimes there's different versions of like classical, but like you can't force someone that's something they don't like. You could taste the dish. You don't have to love it.
Sure.
But then you move on to it. So don't worry about if there's any advice that I could give is like, make what you want to hang up on your wall. Like make what you want to see. That's kind of like what I started to do at first.
That's interesting because I've heard artists say, Brandon, you never know what's going to hit. And when it hits, you roll with it. And gosh, man, that was a hard pill for me to swallow.
You never know what's gonna hit.
Because I love kind of meandering through a bunch of different things. I sculpt, I do murals, I do faces.
You can work.
Like I love.
And then you got the fine stuff too. Like with I mean, I don't know how you do that, but that's great that you have those kind of different areas to share. So different people will, everyone can find something in it. Maybe someone loves the whole art because it all comes from you. Maybe they're like, you know what? I just go over here. I love your sculptures.
Yeah.
And
well, it's just, I mean, to me, it's very hard for me to succeed with people knowing my stuff immediately. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, oh, I can tell by your color you use, or I can see your style that you paint in and blah, 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 right? And so I do get that, but I don't get like, I'm probably one of 20 people they could recognize, but I don't have something that is like that guy right there is independent. So I tried to do that for a while, but it wasn't in my heart, No. And I was like, I don't want to just create something just so I can say, I'm unique. I did it by myself. Look what I did. Like, I just want to express, and all of my paintings tell a story, every one of them. And that's where I'm at. And if somebody doesn't like that for that, and you can't take that journey with me, I'm out anyways. This is for me. I'm doing this, and so I've
good.
I've
good that you didn't change for someone else's like, oh, that's not the way.
Yeah.
No, this is the way. This is my way.
I'm the way.
This is how, you gotta walk in that. And not everyone can do the things that you do, man. The large scale portraiture and with can work and it's never finished, right? I feel like that's one thing we're never finished with the painting. It's always, your style's always going, your moods are changing. And it's nice to count on one set of, ways to express, like the icons and the symbols, but then let's zoom in on one of them. Let's get creative with the way that people can experience it, but still know it's you.
Well, I mean, I just think of like people like Picasso. they went through, I want to say change seasons of their life where their style completely changed. And I don't mean like a little. I mean, hey, I'm no longer a fine artist. I am a abstract artist now. And it's like those two mindsets that's almost like someone took, what's it, ayahuasca or whatever to completely change themselves as who they are, because those you don't really, I don't see that. I can't see the connection
of
how those two people think the same
Cubist
way.
To like the Brock stuff.
Yes.
Then going the blue period, and then the portraiture from when he was younger, and then just going back to like painting like a kid, like
expression.
I love that. I to get the power in those lines that are so, rudimentary. When someone said that about like, oh, your lines are so rudimentary, but there's something there. It's like it looks like it's there because I'm present in the moment, and that's why what I love about Picasso is like you have to do all that. How did he live to 92? You have all those years baked in to the whole thing to get to where it is, and I'm curious to see what your work is going to look like later on, and what mine, and maybe it's a complete abandon of everything. It's like, and as you move into the future with everything, that's what I love about. That's what I live for. That I like go to museums and think about these stories and see where they live later.
It's like cracking a glass ceiling, right? Like you never go back to what it was, and that's what he's done. He's shut that chapter. Like his are so distinct because they looked a certain way and then they never looked that way again. It wasn't like they just got better.
Yep.
It was like door shut, new me, here I am. Door shut, new me, here I am. And it was successful at every stage.
And that's brave to do, especially if everyone's eating it up and buying something that you do. And then you go, this is the new thing. I've had to do that a few times. And sometimes it doesn't catch on right away. Maybe you sell like 1 out of a set of 9, and then they start the rhythm comes. New sounds out of the instrument that are like, you were talking about this with Boo Boo about Andre 3000, just like the flute album, and just like, dude, yes, find new places where you can, discover something about yourself. And, he was going through so many things like that, had to sing. There's the paintbrush is going to sing, the mic is going to sing, the guitar is going to, where do we go with it? And, it takes me back. Maybe I will make that movie one day and it'll be the art. Maybe I'm living the movie. Maybe you'll find the thing that you're doing all these things. Maybe something that just brings them together without someone pushing you, because that's the way. That's what's so cool about art is you can go to school for it, and you don't have to go to school for it, and you can do all of it. You should learn. Like my first art school is going to museums and hanging out with artists and just knowing like, why do those colors look so cool? There's a Rauschenberg combine of not a combine, but a paint. It's called Bed, and it's just a bed that's on the wall that's framed out, and there's like paint dripping out of it. It almost looks like crink, and it's got color in it, and it's like he slept in his dream. He slept in the paint, and I was like, did he sleep in that bed, or is that the paint? I was like, why does this mean something to me? It's like I want to go to bed and sleep in there and wake up with paint all over my hair. And that's in like the Van Gogh movie. It was like one person's painting, one person's opus, person's painting can, rivet you to the point of where you have an opus inside of you. And I will always respect art for that. And it does, like, I'm not like a numbers. I mean, everybody is an artist. We practice it in different ways. But like when you find what that is, just like sleep in it and be it and live it. And you won't have to, it doesn't feel like going to the gym or like you have to get that workout in. No, it's like you wake up and you're in it. You're already doing sets.
When you go to the point that you're at right now, what do you see as a challenge? What are you scared of? What do you fear right now?
I'll be honest. The engine of the heart I want to say it's limitless. I want to say there's enough gasoline to carry you all the way through. I want to be inspired deeper. And I think that you find it after you start getting to the rhythm. You want to go to new places. I want to go deeper in my relationships and love. I guess I'm afraid of telling the same story because when my dad, went, but he came back to me in my work, gave me that energy, gave me I'm going to connect. Like if I'm doing good on earth, you're feeling it. If I'm doing good here. And that's always one of the impetus of my work is just connection and happiness while you're here amidst all the different, challenges of love and life and loss and all these things. So I know that's always going to be there, but I want to, it doesn't scare me, but I want to be ready for the next whoosh. I want to be open to it. And that's what's really cool about me coming to a new location and coming to see Dallas I love, you got to go on foot. And I got to do that. Walks are so cool, man. Mm-hmm. If you ever feel uninspired, walk and just look around because we drive so quick. And then we're in the bubble of the thing and we see what we see. But when you're in it, you got to slow down. So, I guess I'm afraid of taking too much time to think or too much time to absorb. And I want to have another powerful experience of expression. I don't want to be making sandwiches. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be, do you like this? Dump, that. Here's your sandwich. Yo, we're done. That's not the trophy. And I want to keep that reminder. And, having places like this, like having a studio, having spaces that are extensions of your heart. Like we're inside someone's heart. When you're in their studio, you're walking around and you're like, where's that me? Or where's it like, I want to bring that. I don't want to, I guess that's it. I don't want to run out of gas and I want to be moved. Mm-hmm. And I think that those are two things that we don't have all of the control over those things. Mm-hmm. We just have to go with the ocean. Yeah. Go with how it is. Yeah. Did you, do you ever experience that? When you're like, I don't know what to paint today, or I don't know what the story is, or what are you waiting? Are you waiting for something, or do you? I didn't think of this out loud until you asked me a question, but I think that's kind of where I'm at. I
don't think I'd. What do I fear? I fear getting through this life and not have told anyone who I am, not have left a true mark to say guys, I was here, right? And if you go back and you see some of my stories, my paintings are my stories. If you see some of my stories, you'll know that I was here, right?
Completely.
And I fear that I don't have enough stories to tell, right? Not that I don't have them, I haven't told enough stories. They're in here, I feel like they're just pouring out. I did this, the sculpture at the Gallery Defy, which is the head, which is blue on the bottom and pink on the top. And I did it I built a CNC and routed out this head in layers out of wood, right? And it's probably yay tall, right? And so people are talking about how do you come up with your concepts, or how do you generate your ideas? And I said, man, to be honest, I feel like I've been given this vehicle, right? I've been given this brain, and to use it the way that I'm supposed to use it, the faucet is on and it is spewing out, and it's harder for me to catch and put on the wall than it is. I can't pick them all up, right? They're just spewing out, And so if you cut the top of the head off and you look down, it's an infinity mirror that goes as far as you can see. It goes, the head's only 4 foot tall, but the infinity mirror looks like it's 2,000 feet down that you're looking down a shaft, right?
Limitless.
And then it has these lights that are coming up like this, and it's just throwing these ideas. And then I put a mobile over the top of it that had like spinning ideas coming out of it, right? Looked like a tornado coming out of the top. I really feel like that is where I'm at. Like I'm just catching the things that's going on. And that's why some of my stuff feels a little bit not consistent when it comes to a theme, right? Because I don't know. I didn't build the machine. I'm using it to the best of my ability, and I'm catching the thoughts and the things that come out of it. But I'm not the one in control of the way that it was built. You know, I try to get better, and I try to learn, and I try to get my craft and all that other thing. But the generator itself is spitting out what it's spitting out. And so my fear is I don't ever use my generator to its capacity. Like I become lazy and let it fall. That's my fear. So can't allow that.
I would never say lazy, because you're always making things. And
Always.
like even that's actually like a symbol of, you know, your process, and you are limitless. You remember that deep in there, there's so many different, now that you have all those, you know, those flavors inside of you, and they're going to come out. Like it's hard to take it all in at once. Give us the ones that mean the most, though, that you feel like being present to get out there. I mean, I walked in, and when I saw, because I loved the mural you painted, and now I see the new one, I'm like, oh, he's painting into a new moment now. This is you've got the FIFA World Cup. You have some, you like merging moments of just like Dallas, you know, your roots mixed to what's, you know, how big this place is, and what's coming here, and the growth, and having that trophy in his hand, and all of the flags. And I'm like, cool. Like you're marking moments, and I guess as you keep adding them up, you know, we'll get it. We'll get it. Just don't stop making those moments.
Yeah.
And that's cool, man. Sculpturally, to think about an idea 3-dimensionally and experience wise. That's what I love about, you know, that gallery over there. It's
very eclectic.
It's a feast for everything.
Yeah.
There's
and they've done a great job of like curating it. I mean, just bringing the people in are not just a bunch of talented people. They're just good humans that they've brought in, you know, and I'm pretty impressed by that, you know, and even, you know, for artists, I'm going to ask you this, because this is what a lot of people are going to reflect on too. You said you paint every day, right? How do you work on deadlines? If someone gives you a deadline, do you hit your deadline, or do you use the artist's, I will get to it when I get to it?
It's like, it's very challenging, but it's important to be able to say, hey, if someone needs something, you either could say yes or no. If you can't do it, you got to say no if it doesn't feel right. I mean, when it comes to commissions and there is a deadline, you got to, this needs to be done. I make that happen. It's like a challenge. It's like it's an athletic move.
Yeah.
It's not like, and it means that you got to, it's not just like, I said that being inspired by the whoosh of the, you know, waiting for it to come in. Sometimes you don't get that option. You have to go and make. And like, I have to remind myself that too. It ain't going to hit me, and it's going to be the songs, like how I tilted and spilled everything, man. Stop waiting for it and get it. And I mean, most of the time, you know, I'm painting pieces for this show in Dallas, and there's a timeline for it. Like I want to get these things done. So like you go into this spot where time isn't. You go into the time, whether you start at 10 p.m. and you got to go where that time isn't, and you have to work in there. And when it comes to commissions, or when it comes to, you know, I mean, Warhol called them business paintings. You know, you're there for the money or whatever. You know, if you can turn a commission or a business painting into something that actually exists in the arc of your story, you're a great artist. You can not deny the piece where someone, I'm not an artist, I'm not going to paint an avocado or something like that. But if you can make that fit, and if you can mold things anyway. And it's tough, but there's everyone's different. I've met every kind of artist. I mean, some people are like, yo, you know, there's some serious stuff that maybe that's not going to fit in the painting. And that's cool. I respect that. But the challenge is always, I'm always up for the challenge, but sometimes it's not coming, man. Sometimes you can give yourself the time to do it and whatever. And it's like, hey man, can't work under this line like this. Or sometimes you got to just like make it. You got to make it work. You got to make it work. But I don't put that type of stuff. I love when the menu is menu is clear and you're ready to just paint you and your show without any interruption.
Are you what percentage are you from commission to that moment?
I mean, I want to be all the time. I want to be painting all the time.
Just for you.
Yeah. I want to be, I don't know the percentage because it goes in waves. Like sometimes you can get like something hot happens. Everyone's like, yo, I need that. Or like you drop a print and that's cool. But I stay in those. I think I do like one big show, possibly one mini show a year. And I need to give that time for that show. I need to have that. Otherwise it ain't going to come right. And that could be like you start painting for the thing in February and the thing's in October.
Right.
And you start, stocking up those paintings. And then you realize that's not in the show. That's in the show. We have extra. This needs to be painted over. And then, but I would say like 75%, 25% commission, 75% the show. It's always about, you're making an album, man. It's like, that's why we, but I do want to take that thing not only to the shows, and I want to bring that to, there's so many residencies, there's so many opportunities, there's so many things out there, but you have to go and seek them. And I haven't had a chance to do that all the time because I'm thinking about the show or thinking about the commissioner, thinking about, stuff. So cool. We talked and thought we were going to be talking a lot about, like brand collaborations and like tricks to get things and do stuff. And we've really gotten to the heart of like what it is to be an artist is to, to create.
This brings up my next point about collaborations. No, no, I mean, the cool thing is like, I really believe this is about, and to build the business part of it, it truly is about networking, never stopping, just making sure that you are producing nonstop. Right? I think if you do those three things, no matter what. Oh, and show the world.
Yeah. Make something every day and share it. Yep.
Yeah. And if you do those things, people are going to be there with you, right? It's like, don't let people go to sleep on you,
True.
I have to tell myself that all the time because I've done a bad job this last year and a half. I got really tired of the social media part of it, and I got works that I've spent a lot of time and they're pretty cool that I've not even shared. And it's like, dude, I'm not following my own advice at points. And it doesn't have to do because I'm nervous for people to see it. I'm just tired. I'm tired of having to play the game of let me get something out here. Let me get something out here. Let me get something out here every day. Right? You feel that way?
Yeah. Yes. I've felt that way. And if you stop, it's like a muscle. That fiber ain't going to grow. If you keep the consistent workout and doing what you're going to do. What I was going to say was, Instagram was this thing back in the day. It was expression. And then it turned into like, the yellow pages, like the tool to find, and then it became, connector. It's been so many things. And now it's like a money making tool to commercialize and the sponsor. And then like you got TikTok. But sometimes on TikTok, you could throw something on there and I don't care. But on Instagram, it's got to be the best shot. And does that make the painting? Is the color tone? Yeah, I've realized like I got to be more active and not care as much and just be like, hey guys, I'm in Dallas right now. I'll tell you more about it. Yeah. It'll take me 10, or do I really want to do that? Just share stuff and stop making it so precious. None of it is as much as in your brain that you think that everyone's like, same thing about the painting too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I gotta die for this painting and people are going to come over to it and some people are going to get where they're going to go with it. And stop trying to be the whole process. Stop trying to be the viewer, collect the buyer, just be the artist and keep doing it and just keep throwing it up there and don't be so, Yeah, it's just a very, very, it's a kind of crazy world that like we can put an art show out every day on digitally on our grams. And like you could go back to things that, like you just said, you have a whole archive, a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't unseen.
Yeah.
Start throwing some stuff up there, even if it's a zoom in, even if it's like a quadrant of that piece. It's going to be like, someone loves your stuff and be like, whoa, what was that? I like that. Because there's people watching. But once you stop, it's just get back on it. You and I have to hold each other accountable and just throw something, because I want to know more about you. And I want to know about like there are so many ways, but you're doing a great job, man. You have the blueprint, and you're sharing, stories and your own work and connecting people. So don't be so hard on yourself.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's
a grind for all of us. I think keeping up with this and making sure that you have the right guests and the right people and the right things to say to people, and you want to help people in their journey. It's the right thing to do. People have helped me. People have opened doors for me. People have shown me opportunities that I would never have for myself. So it's my responsibility to kind of do the same thing in fold. So
yes, when it's right, it just works.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I know this guy, or like, where do you want to, who do you want to reach now? What could we do? And that is a really cool place to be in the world, the way you wake up every day and you're like, that was my dad's best friend, Joe Rinaldi, is like the meaning of life is to help other people. If it's a really good thing. So if you ain't helping anybody, like it's not fun. It's not a fun ride. But you guys got to have your senses all firing. So when that happens, you're able to like, and then you're like, damn, that's cool. That's cool that you.
I'm going to shift gears on you just a little bit. We've been talking about art and kind of we've gone almost a full show, and we've kind of just, I knew I was going to rabbit hole this one because I was really excited to kind of pick your brain about.
Yeah, I noticed you have some hours on them, and I'm like, I'm down to do whatever. Like if we catch it, and I'm here.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I have a lot of different music that I love. Oh, that's cool. That's I'll make playlists when it's time for a show, and they're like from, they're all over the place. But I guess the fire of if it's gonna get me in there, it's like there's certain things I go back to, like what was playing then when I was killing it. Like I try to remember that, because sometimes, but rap music has always been, lyrical rap music has always been there. And then I love, all the things that the guys that I love, from Jackson Pollock to Basquiat, from like jazz, Miles Davis. I love the different, love on those playlists that it affect me. I mean, the songs that make you cry alive, the ones that are like, the ones that you wished your paintings sounded like.
I felt that. That is so crazy. I wish I could bottle this up and share this with people, because I don't know everybody feels it. It feels like empathy, right? In a bottle, you know, but that exact feeling of what you're talking about.
You could hear.
I have that,
You could hear a song and you're like, oh, that's how I feel, and I want this painting.
Yes.
And then I'll catch a song and you'll put it on loop, because you're trying to catch that moment. I'll listen to it 35 times in a row.
That is so crazy.
And I know the cadence, I know where it goes, I know where the heart, and what. That's what's like a good movie, is like when you see the movie and at the same spot you feel that, and you're like, why does that work every time? It should only work the first time. That's a good work of art. So those are kind of songs that I like to catch. And then, when I'm lazy, I'll put on a podcast and I'm like, I'll be listening, but there's nothing like when you've got the music going.
Right.
However, there's podcast painting, and there's like painting, and there's silence painting where you're like, just in my thoughts right now. But I mean, the music, I make playlists for each show with the titles, and like that will remind me of the show. Like could be like 30 songs, and that'll be what I'm listening to during that. But I have stuff that reminds me of my mom, love Billy Joel. My loves Billy Joel, and like, or with things that my mom played me when I just want to. I want to hear stories in the songs, and I'll never lose my my love for me. There's tons of new stuff that comes out. I really like, and I love things that make me feel young too. Like, and I had so many different moments of being able to go to concerts in New York, and I saw Nirvana when in 1993 at the New York Coliseum, and I got to like experience all these kind of cool things that were there, and I was from an era that I wanted, like, you know, everyone wanted to be a rock star too, but I think that music is infused in a bunch of the pieces, and especially where sometimes it's words and text and lyric. I remember that's why I gravitated to your playlist when it was going, because some of those are hidden too. So you had some like rare tracks that weren't like, oh, you know, those pieces make me feel good, because that's quick time travel, just listening to music.
Yeah, no, I do the same thing with the hearing one song and it hits you so much impact, right? And I'll loop it, like you said, and I'll loop it for 30 times in a row. Like, it was so funny to hear you say that. I do that every time, and it's like a dopamine shot every time it comes on, and I'll do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. And I've also caught myself to where it's like, all right, I'm at number like 20, 25 now. Like, I need to wean myself off before I burn this thing down, because I can do it, you know, until it doesn't have that one little flutter, you know, like normally you, like when you get in, you're like, oh. I remember being at the gym one time, a long time ago, and that song that had hit me that way came on during my workout. And I remember I put my hands in my ears on my earbuds, and I closed my eyes and I was listening to it. And then just had a moment. And then I took my hands off like this and opened my eyes, and there was a guy staring at me. And he was like, "You okay?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Whatever you're listening to, I wish I could feel that."
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that was crazy, because it was like, I don't know, it just stopped me down, you know, but he recognized it and walked over and like experienced what I was doing right in front of me.
That shows how open your heart is, that you were creating a piece off of that. You were right back there in that moment.
Yeah.
And that could be someone who's always denied their creativity. That could be someone who hasn't opened up or resolved something in their heart and saw that elation on your face. That's what we're trying to paint, man.
I know.
That's what we're trying to leave here.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing that you said that too, because like I have said that in my own mind of, I wish my paintings would evoke emotion the same way words can. Words and melody can absolutely pierce you, and it's accessible to everyone. You know, put it on Spotify. It's open for everyone. It's free. Take it. My artwork's not. You know, maybe if I share it on social media or something, it gets to a few people, right? Or whatever. But music gets to everyone. That's also why I love murals that are outdoors. It's because traffic comes by. People tell their story. People interact
so
with
many
it.
Impressions, if you want to call it a digital term, but yeah.
And I saw this one lady, I did one that says hope. And this one lady was driving around and she's crying. She just got back from the hospital. So they said she needed to terminate her baby at 9 months because it was going to not live, man. Right? So she pulls up, she's crying. She goes to the stop sign. She looks over, sees hope there. She puts her car in park in the middle of the street, walks over and has a walker by take a photo in front of her, the hope mural I painted. And sends me a message and says, "Just so you know, because I saw hope today and I saw your mural, I'm keeping my child. Whatever happens, happens." And then she's like, "Fast forward, it's been 1.5 years. My child is 1.5 years old now. He has a lot of problems, but he's alive and with me." And I just was like, that type of connectivity, that was as close as I've gotten to like reaching up and feeling someone's heart, you know, through something that I drew or painted or anything like that. It was as close as I've ever gotten to that. And that's why I love the experience of sharing and letting it be outdoors and letting it be where people can see it and live it and love it, you know?
That's a literal sign.
Mhm.
And that's a sign that you're in the right spot.
Mhm.
You're here, you know, you found your calling, you're
Mhm.
doing it. That's a reminder to keep doing it. And like, she's going to take a picture with her son in front of that mural, and she'll always have that. Like, that's a beautiful story. And, you know, sometimes that's going on and we don't even get to know that. So
Sure.
the fact that she reached out,
Mhm.
you know, just how, like, you know, when you're like, that song saved my life. Or like, you know, like there's musicians that, and there's art out there that affect us and that
Mhm.
give us that one good day that got us to the next day, to
Mhm.
the next day. You know, I'm all for that.
Mhm.
Like, that's when someone says, you know, your song changed my life, and you had a moment to she had a moment to tell you that.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, I'm gonna jump off the sad stuff, or the heartfelt stuff. Do you have any hobbies that you are almost scared to talk about?
Hobbies that I'm scared to talk about.
Like you're addicted to shoes or shirts.
Oh
or hats
yeah,
or whatever.
I'm addicted to the perfect leather jacket. I mean, because I paint on leather jackets and stuff, but like I love designers. I love fashion. My girl's got such a great taste when it comes to pieces and putting them together, and I'm very in awe of the way she does that, and I like that because like clothing is another arrangement of a painting, like how we present ourselves. But I'm addicted to like, I will, you know, I find myself like looking at things that when I was a kid, you know, whether it would be like action figures or clothing that I wore, or things that were so you couldn't get back then. Like, you know, I'll have crazy eBay things that would just make me feel like, you know, that time is still alive. So, but I love like finding like leather jackets or jeans or things that I can like add my paint to, which is really cool. Hobbies, man. I mean, I love food and I love chocolate and I love like, I'm kind of trying to eat the best that I can without getting rid of the things that I love. So if it's French fries, like we're going to chop our own French fries and put some beef tallow on it and put it in the oven and make those things. But like trying to evolve. I love working out, and I'm also conscious of what goals are. So I just want to do stuff like where you wake up in the morning, hit 100 push-ups, do 100 squats. Make sure you do those things. These are different things that I'm building in my, and I love chilling with my girl and, you know, laughing on silly things. I'm in LA. I'm going to be moving to Vegas. So, I mean, there's so many cool things that go on in Vegas that inspire me, from like magic shows, the Chris Angel show, which she took me to. And it was just like, it has being inspired by his story of all the different people that his art has touched. And like, she was just, you know, I love figuring out new ways to share my work. So everything's related to art. But there's like an off switch when it comes to that. I mean, trying to think about what can I admit about myself that I like. I mean, I'm a Spider-Man fiend. Like,
I was gonna say, what's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Whoa, that's a tough one. I mean, I've always loved the stories about the artists. Like I love Pollock, Basquiat. Obviously, those are artist movies. But it's a movie called Running on Empty with River Phoenix. Favorite movies, man. You know, 1989 Batman. It's one of the hardest things to pick, but dude, I love insane stuff. I'm running around like thinking I'm the ultimate warrior when I'm working out. I like getting energy to put on my wall that I want to work out close to. So like whether it's like Muhammad Ali's shorts, Tyson, things that are there that when I'm lifting, I'm feeling like I don't know. I want to examine the greats and explore that. And I look at myself like, Timothy Chalamet did the Complete Unknown Bob Dylan movie. And yeah, man, I just want to be the best version of myself. And whatever hobby I'm doing is kind of feeding that. But sometimes it could be, shopping is addictive. Like I love sunglasses, man. I love to find pieces that were like around when I was in the 90s and things, and like bring those back into there, and just kind of, I don't know, is it like, are we cheating time when we're dressing up when it looked like back then, and just like having those things around?
You a car guy at all?
I love F1. We watched that, and being in Vegas, experiencing that. I love G-Wagons, like old school, because there's like a tool for me. I was an ambassador for Mercedes-Benz, and they help support my work. And I painted a G-Wagon for the Art of Elysium, a charity that's in LA. And that car, I was able to have that for 6 years while I used different ones. And it's become like a character in my life. It carries my paintings. It brings them places. I filled a full show in there. I love watches. Not like the traditional watches that are like the big balling situation, but I like watches that have remnants of Van Gogh and Jackson Pollock.
That's cool.
And but I do. My brother has dealt time Rolexes and in New York City, so I have an appreciation for all that.
Yep. You get to pick one artist. The best.
The best?
Your favorite, the best. Who is it?
Oh, man.
One artist.
I got to go with someone that I know. Louis Cannizzaro, my boy, my buddy, my best pal. Because, I mean, pay attention to who's alive and who's your friend. And I'm learning that. I'm cool. Learning every day to give people their flowers, right?
Yeah.
Give them, because they deserve it, and you wouldn't be here without them. They laid it out before us, but I love all artists, man. That's kind of people are the greatest. People you learn, like every person you come into contact with can give you a little bit more to find the better part of you, and yeah, man. I mean, awesome. we got, I mentioned Vincent and Picasso. How about you? I want to hear who's your guy is.
Gosh, man, it's so hard not to say Michelangelo, honestly. Like, just the so few, I love him because of everything that he stepped in, much like I feel for myself on a much smaller scale. He stepped into so many different worlds and succeeded very well in them. And I've been very impressed by that my whole life. He has like 16 paintings, and it's like they're 16 of the greatest portraits ever done, right? Like 16, that's enough, Next. And it's like unbelievable, Oh, let me go invent something that flies real quick, it's like,
yeah.
So for that purpose alone, I think
that's really cool.
For another purpose, my buddy Tex, because he's one of the most genuine artists that I've ever come across, that forced me to put a can in my hand, You
told me, you were telling me that.
Yeah. So super thankful. Always be thankful for him for that, and highly impressed with his ability to share his story or do it the way he wants to do it, regardless of everybody else. He's not moved by anyone else's insight or influence or whatever. He's doing his original self. So I love that. So
that's dope.
Yeah. Well, tell everybody where they can find you if you don't mind doing that. Yes,
thank you.
Yeah.
You can find me at Gregory Siff, Siff, super ice cream, fantastic. I say that on the phone. And then, GregorySiff.com. And I'm coming back out here. You can find me at Gallery DeFi right next to this man, Antex. And then you can also, I'm going to have a show coming up April 9th, TF Gallery. It's going to be dope. I would love to see anyone that is from Dallas and beyond. And thank you for this experience, man. Thank you for letting me, kick it with you and speak.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And again, it's great to get to have another conversation with you and see your true heart. I mean, it's pretty easy to see, and thankful you made it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I told you. And that's the blueprint. Until next time, peace.